Good morning. It is 7:56. Did the morning thing. I read a little bit of my book. Sweet Nectar of the Gods. Making my thumbnail right now. I just uploaded yesterday's and then I need to go through and do all the SEO for it and get that posted. A couple things I need to do for my own brand. I want to track some of my daily metrics, which when I go on my morning walks, I listen to an audiobook. My business coach and I read a book together, so we both listen to it while we walk our dogs separately, not together. And this month is Scaling Up by Verne Harnish, I think is how you say the recommendations, and that was to have a daily stand up and stand down with yourself or your team and go over KPIs for the business. And so I already have my KPIs from my business coach, but I'm tracking them weekly instead of daily. So I'm going to start doing that daily. But first I'm going to get this uploaded, so I'll be back. And knocked out a couple random to-dos. It's now 8:31. Video is uploaded, and now I'm setting up this thing. I'm calling it my daily accountability chart. Just show you this. And I'm pulling, so I have a spot for the name of the KPI, the work completed for it yesterday, if there's work planned for it today, and then the daily result. And I should probably also add, I need to figure out a way to add the date in. How am I gonna do that? Maybe I should have this feed a bigger tab. We're gonna think about this later. I need to figure out a way to track it daily instead of just updating the cells over each other so I can like follow trends. So the date needs to go like this. So it should really be a tab for each KPI and then a date. Okay, I'll be back. Okay, so I think this will work because I have the 5 main KPIs. So I just have the tabs labeled and they're all set up the same. So I'll just input the date, what I did yesterday, what's planned for today, and results. So this would be like the amount of billable hours I had in a day, and then the number of new leads I got in a day. I'd be looking a little rough, but it's time to go to the gym since leg day. Pray for me. And then we're gonna fix what's happening here. I need to go put on my watch. We'll come back, we'll finish our coffee, and they're coming to do my AC this morning, so fingers crossed that they don't call me in the middle of my gym session, but they probably will. So we'll cross that bridge when we get there. All right, it's 9:35, gym is done. I'm giving myself 25 minutes to fold clothes, clean up, and get ready. So let's see if I can do that. You're not helping me get this done faster. Come on, get down, let's go. Betty, lady. All right, it's 9:46. The broom is cleaned up. Get ready, clean up bathroom, living room, kitchen in 14 minutes. It's 7:53. I curled my ponytail. That's kind of like my speed trick. And I'm gonna let it set and then pull it out, rake through it, and then just roll. Okay. It is truly a race against time. I am actually a diagnosed ADHD gal, and by challenging myself to like race or making something a game, like, oh, if you can complete this by this time, you win, or you can have a treat, or you can go take a walk or something. It helps keep my brain on task. All right, I'm gonna change. Another speed trick of mine is on a day when I'm pressed for time, throw on a sundress, because there is literally nothing else I have to do for styling. Okay, pull this out, rake through. It's not anything crazy, but it's just like tames the hair a bit. And then we're just gonna. All right, it's 9:59. There's not a lot to be done in the kitchen, so this is almost a success, which I think that might be a superpower. All right, so I have a lot on my plate today, so let's do a rundown of what we got going. If my calendar, I don't get why it's doing this. Okay, so I have a 10:30 call, I have a 2:30 call, I have a 3 o'clock call, and I have a 4 o'clock call. And this is supposed to be my day where I have like 1 to 2 calls max, so that's really cool. Love that for me. Right now I have 30 minutes blocked to work on a client. And that's just going to be reviewing Jira cards and making sure that I know where the project stands, helping unblock anything. I have some calls I need to schedule. I need to look at actually my ClickUp instance for myself and see what to-dos I have today. 14 scheduled for today. That's a little scary. Okay, so I know what I can do in this block. I need to review everything in the cards and then from 11 to 12, that's kind of my lunch break, or my break to get my girl to the PARK, and then I'll be bouncing back to do about 2.5 hours of client work, and then an hour of calls, half hour of enrichment, half an hour of client calls, half an hour of client work, and then I have plans tonight, so we're going to be wrapping up the day around 5:30. So I got a call from the client that wasn't expected, but it's okay. Nothing was bad. And they wanted to know if they could get an editable version of our designs so they could show the different ways it would function for different end users. Essentially, they want the editable design so they can show their board how it would function for different people using the website, which I get. But that's really scary as a project manager because I have no control over what the client is doing with the designs that we created and that were approved, and they could present them to the board. The board could really like something that actually wasn't scoped, and all of a sudden we're in this situation where we need to increase scope, we need a change request, it adds hours, it adds money, it adds time. So we're talking through all of the different options and how we can avoid that but still fulfill the client's request. This is something, my skin. Oh. Taking care of that. It's 10:26 right now. And then I have a 10:30 meeting where I'm getting kind of trained on our QA training process, which would happen in January, which like I said yesterday, I might not even be on this team in January anymore, but I'm still trying to get a feel for how it works. So training on how this particular organization I work with does their QA documentation process. So when we train people, so like we're developing the website right now, and then we have to train the client on how to use their site once it launches, and we do this before we go into the user acceptance testing. So I just needed to get a rundown on how they typically run it. Now it's on me to figure out what dates in January we want to do training. And I don't even know if I'm going to be here. So they still haven't come for the AC, and I'm like internally struggling with, do I call the office? And the office literally never picks up as it is, which I prefer management that really doesn't give a fuck what's going on, better than micromanaging management. But it's hot in here. I think it's, let's look at the thermostat. I think it's almost 75 degrees in here right now. Yep, it is 74. That's probably backwards for you. 74 degrees. It's 11:52. I'm gonna heat up my shakshuka, and then I have 2 hours of clients to work on. So might ring the office. There was a minor explosion. We have some avocado, 2 pieces. I don't know if it would be pieces of shakshuka, but there's some shakshuka, and then this is homemade bread. So I'm gonna eat this, and all right, lunch is done. I have my jazz music going. I'm about to enter a focus block. I'm gonna make coffee. But I want to run you through what I'm about to work on for my client. So I just went through and I pulled calendar availability because, like I said, we're doing this long form content campaign for pretty much the next year where we're pulling in a lot of consultants that this particular client works with. So I just pulled calendar availability for the internal team, pitched out 5 different times, and was like, just let me know if any of these times do not work for you, and then I'll follow up tomorrow. And then if nobody says anything, or if there's, you know, like a certain time that doesn't work for somebody, I'll go with one of the times that nobody spoke out about, and get that scheduled, and then there'll be more to-dos after that. But right now what I'm doing is, last quarter I wrote 2 different email sequences for this client, and I need to make a plan to mobilize them. So it's all in Hubspot, so I need to go into Hubspot workflows and basically pull the emails in and create a workflow. So it's gonna be, we're gonna have to set up the trigger, which is something I need to bring up in Friday's stand-up because I need the founder to initiate the trigger on his end. So we're gonna have to somehow tag all of the contacts that qualify for these workflows in a certain way, but that's kind of his call. I'll make a recommendation, but in the end it's up to him. And then I'll have like, okay, once they are triggered, this many days delay, and then send this email. And then whatever action they take on this email determines whether or not they get email number 2. And if they get email number 2, how long between email number 1 and email number 2. So I'm gonna set up all that logic for 2 workflows. It's 12:13 right now. And then if I have time, I also need to, I created a web page, like a resource library for them last quarter, and I need to create a plan on how we're gonna get that published into the website navigation, and how we're gonna continue to build that out. Kind of a process for building that out and keeping it updated. We'll see if I get to that. I'm gonna prioritize the email workflows for sure, because those are gonna be the biggest lead generator. And again, I like to focus my marketing on through like a sales enablement lens. So that is my mission, and I have a hard stop at 1. I will be back around then.
It is truly just the little things in life. Like, this is just making my whole day.
I'm in my room because it's so fucking hot in this house right now that I needed to be where the fan was. Okay, so it is 12:55, and there's 2 workflows I was working on. I had to publish each of the emails as an automated email and make some adjustments, and then I had to add them to the email workflow. And
so you set up your trigger, you set up your delays, your emails, and then you also have to set up how people would be unenrolled, because if they meet the goal, I thought I had this already done. Click up one back. It was set on an activity property. Meeting name. Oh, frick. Call a meeting type. So they should be unenrolled anytime they meet that criteria. So they would stop receiving emails because it wouldn't make sense anymore.
All right, so now I'm entering a hour-long work block for my business, and the plan is that I'm going to write, and so I'm hiring somebody, I'm hiring help. So I need to write the job description, bullet point out all of the training documentation I would need to onboard that person to have ready before I hired them, and then also update the weekly metrics for my business coach, send him the 2 documents because we meet tomorrow, and I need to do that all within the hour. So jazz music on. And also, I called the apartment while I was working on the email stuff, and they are supposed to be here very soon, thank God. All right, it's 2:03, and I made my job description, so I went through, and I'm doing it through Upwork, so I labeled it as a project and marketing assistant because I don't need somebody with like a super highly specialized skill. I just need them to be able to help me out. I listed a project overview, which is just 2 sentences long, and what I'm looking for, the scope of work, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 bullets long, and then skills required, which is like 12 bullets, 4 preferred qualifications, which is just like certifications and experience in certain platforms, the project timeline, the project budget, and then instructions to apply. And then I came up with a list of training documentation, and I just set it up in 3, like a table of 3 columns. The first being the name of the documentation, the second why I need that, and the third is like a drop down that has color logic applied. So I either have it completed, no, so it shows up red, or yes, and it shows up green. And then I filled in my weekly metrics for my coach and sent off those 2 documents to him. I meet with him tomorrow at 1, and now I'm working for one of my smaller clients who owns a gift shop, an e-commerce. Online e-commerce is the same thing, an e-commerce shop. And we're working on some ad concepts for her, which is not my strength, which is one of the things I'm hiring for. So I'm just exporting some of these files and uploading them into her Google Ads instance, where I have like a drafted campaign that I'll present at our next meeting, which is potentially Friday, but it's a monthly meeting. So I want to push it to be next Friday since that's the first, and expand it to an hour. So I need to run that past her. And I have a meeting coming up at 2:30 that I will be back in like 5 minutes to talk about. All right, so if you didn't know, you can open up this preview. and it'll show an example, and you can look at different formats. And you can also look at it in mobile or in desktop to preview them. So this one, they wanted a very direct CTA, and so I came up with a couple of different concepts for what that might look like. You can go through your different ads. Okay, they're showing up here. I don't know why they're not showing up in other places, or why I can't go through these. I don't even really like this one, but this just gives you an example. And then if I went back to this specific campaign, there's another one. Oh wait, am I in the right ad group? Yes, I am. And this one has direct affirmations on it. So we're selling these personalized grief gifts that are like these comfort cards with affirmations. So we just included some of those. And I didn't do all of them because, again, this is just a concept. So we just want to review. Some of these are just images that I need to remove. All right, so it's 2:11 and I'm not done with client work for the day, but we're getting there. So up next, I have an hour of calls, and the first one is with somebody that my business coach connected me with, and he's a really interesting guy. He works for Cox Communications, and a type of client that I'm going after is not necessarily Cox Communications, but he has a lot of background in product development, and something that I want to harness my project management skills for is presenting myself to these product innovation teams and helping them kind of go through, helping them break through a lot of their roadblocks and pain points that they might experience, that a project manager could come in and help. So, for example, they have limited resources. They might struggle to keep up with demand because people, like, an innovation team is usually taking orders or getting requests from a visionary. And visionaries are very like squirrel. I want to work on this. I want to work on this. And so the innovation team is like, which then leads them to also struggling with prioritizing what project they should focus on and what should be shelved. Balancing short-term needs with long-term innovation, navigating market competition, having somebody that's dedicated, having a dedicated process to scoping the market, keeping a pulse on the competition, and weighing all innovations against that. Innovation teams are sometimes risk averse because an innovation project carries a lot of risk with it. If it fails, it could cost the organization millions of dollars potentially. So how can a project manager come in and help? And then just lack of established processes, structure, and role clarity. That just companies wasting money. So it's not an effective innovation department when those teams are really, really important to companies. So I kind of want to just get to know this guy, establish a professional network type of connection with him, and then also just based on his experience, because he hasn't only done product innovation at Cox, he's also done it a lot of other places. So I kind of just want to like get a beat and be like, what's that been like for you? Where could you have used a project manager? Do you think a fractional PM would be helpful, or is it only helpful for you to full-time? So I'm kind of just performing some market research, if you will. And I'll report back. But after that, I go straight into a meeting with one of my clients. So I'll be there until 3:30, and then I enrich with my girl here. And then I have a meeting at 4, and then I have a client work block until 5, and then I need to turn around and get ready for girl dinner. So, and I'll explain more about that later. But anyway, we're going into quite the block here. So I need to let Betty out to pee, eat a snack, probably make my smoothie, and get ready for this call. Oh, I'm tired. Okay, I had that call with that guy. It went okay. He didn't really seem like he wanted to talk to me, which is kind of the shitty part of being a younger professional is you feel like you're bothering people most of the time, and I definitely felt like I was inconveniencing him. Is what it is. I still got a lot of great stuff from him, and I need to learn a lot more about design thinking. Let me ask ChatGPT, what are good resources to start learning about design thinking? Wake up. On that call, I saw an email from my client, and yesterday I was panicking because I was like, I might lose a client. My contract with them ends November 15th now, which isn't a reflection. It's not because of my performance. It's as a fractional PM. Like I said, you just come in and you ride along until they have the internal resources and they get rid of you. So it's not a lot of job security, but it's a lot of good money. But that's okay, because like I said, they've been kind of a pain in my ass, and I've learned a lot from them, but they are very demanding in what they want and how much they want you to show up. So, anywho, yeah. I feel kind of sick after reading that, because the anxiety in me, and I'm gonna go to this dinner tonight and spend money, and it's gonna be an expensive weekend. It's fine, I will be okay. I always bounce back. That's the thing, is I always figure it out, and I will replace that income with something better. I've never really taken a step back in work. I've always just taken steps forward. So, anywho, yeah, moment of sadness. That was a really big chunk of income for me, but it is what it is. Might not be able to hire enough for myself now, but I'll have a lot of open capacity, so there is that. Okay. So, next up on the list is enrichment. About to head out and do that, and then come back in. I have a 4 o'clock call, and then 4 o'clock work block, or 4:30 work block. And then I have about an hour and a half until I have to be ready to go. I'm dead. What have you missed? I did enrichment, and I just had a client call. I need to log that time. I need to send a chat to a client. I also had to send an email because this contract's ending the 15th, so I just have a couple questions about that offboarding process. 4:34. I'll be back in like probably not too long from now. I'm gonna finish up these chats, and then take my pup for a spin. Actually, I'll probably feed them first, do sedatives. We have a joint vet appointment tomorrow morning with both of the animals, which should be really, really interesting. So stay tuned for that. Oh good, another one's coming. All right, so next up on the docket is girl dinner. Me and my friends do this thing where once a month we go out to like a really nice dinner together. It's a really small group of us, and we're not up each other's asses every day of the week. So this is some good quality time. We're always in group settings together pretty regularly, like once or twice a week, I would say on average. And lately it's been even less than that, just because we've all been really busy with our own lives, like work and stuff. So this is our one night of the month where we come together. We usually get wine and just hang. So anywho, we always dress up cute. These are two slightly different shades of black. You can't really see, but I have a skirt on. You still can't see. And in this mock neck tank. And then, because it's getting a little chilly at night here, I'm gonna layer it with a big baggy top. Need to walk my dog. I'm getting picked up at 6:15. It is 5:27. Need to walk my dog, import all this footage from the day. I'm ending the vlog here. If I remember, I'll try to take a clip at dinner, but I probably won't, so I would not count on it. I think this works. It adds like a layer of grunge a little. They're just these old boots that used to be in style and are not really anymore, but the fit for these, no, to make sure the nips aren't out. If you are watching, you're probably one of none, so thanks. I have a couple more things to do, but I'm signing off for the day. Happy Wednesday, and we'll talk more tomorrow morning.